Welcome back to the channel, US Rare Coins News. Top 1. Today we are talking about a coin so old, so misunderstood, that people still argue about what it's worth when they first see one. The 1787 New Jersey coin. Struck before the US Constitution was even fully in place. And if you ever hear someone casually call it a quarter, you already know why this story gets interesting fast. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll show you what this 1787 New Jersey coin really is, why it was made, how to spot the important details collectors care about, the varieties that change everything, and at the end, what real examples have sold for at auction. Let's bring the camera in close and set the scene. This is not a modern quarter. There was no US Mint yet. No federal coinage system. In 1787, each state was doing its own thing. New Jersey authorized its own copper coins to keep commerce moving. What you're looking at is a state-issued copper, often called a New Jersey copper, and it's one of the earliest pieces of American money. On the front, you see a horse's head facing right. Under it, a plow. Simple, but powerful. This design wasn't random. The horse and plow symbolized agriculture, independence, and hard work. Above it, the words Nova Caesarea, Latin for New Jersey. Even the language tells you how close this coin is to colonial times. Flip it over carefully. You'll see a shield in the center. 13 stripes. One for each original colony. Around it, the words E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. This was a bold message in 1787, when the country was still figuring out if it would even survive. Now here's where collectors really slow down. There isn't just one 1787 New Jersey coin. There are dozens of varieties. Different die pairings. Different spacing in the letters. Different shapes to the shield. Some have wide plows. Some have narrow ones. Some show clear detail. Others look crude and uneven. And that's not damage. That's history. These coins were struck by hand. No precision presses. No uniform blanks. That means weak strikes, off-center designs, and uneven edges are normal. But certain varieties are far scarcer than others, and that's where the value jumps. Here's a cliffhanger most people don't expect. Some 1787 New Jersey coins were overstruck on earlier coins. That means another design might be hiding underneath. When collectors spot traces of a previous coin, interest goes through the roof. Condition matters, but survival matters even more. These coins circulated hard. They were used daily. Finding one with readable legends, a visible horse, and a strong shield is already impressive. So what are they worth today? Let's keep it real. A heavily worn but genuine 1787 New Jersey coin often sells for several $100s. A solid, problem-free example with clear details can sell for a few $1,000s. Scarce varieties and higher-grade pieces have sold at auction for tens of thousands of dollars. The very best examples push far beyond that, and remember, this coin is older than the US Mint. Older than Washington becoming president. It was money before America fully became America. So now I want to hear from you. Do you own any early state coins? Have you ever seen a New Jersey copper in person? And which pre-federal coin would you love to add to your collection someday? To wrap it up, the 1787 New Jersey coin isn't just old change. It's a snapshot of a country being built from scratch. Hand-struck. Imperfect. Bold. And incredibly collectible. Top 2, today we are talking about a coin that stops collectors in their tracks, because the moment you hear its name, something feels off. The so-called 1845 Texas State Quarter Dollar. A coin people swear they've seen, heard about, or even been offered. And here's the shocker right up front. This coin does not officially exist. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll explain why people keep searching for an 1845 Texas quarter, what actually was happening with Texas money in 1845, which real coins get confused with this legend, how scammers and misunderstandings keep it alive, and at the end, what genuine Texas-related coins from this era are truly worth today. Let's slow this down and get clear. Bring up a dramatic close-up of an old silver quarter on screen. The United States did mint quarter dollars in 1845, but Texas had nothing to do with them. No state designs. No Texas symbols. No Lone Star. State quarters wouldn't appear for another 154 years. So why does this coin keep coming up? Because 1845 is the year Texas joined the United States. Before that, Texas was its own country, the Republic of Texas. And during those years, Texas issued its own currency, mostly paper money, and a few rare coin-like pieces that confuse people to this day. Now let's show what actually existed. Bring up images of Republic of Texas currency. These weren't quarters. They weren't federal coins. But they're real pieces of history. Some were crudely made. Some were medals. Some were patterns and tokens that later got mislabeled as coins. Here's where the cliffhanger kicks in. Over the years, fantasy pieces have been created. Medals stamped with Texas symbols. Reproductions dated 1845. Pieces designed to look old, silver, and official. To an untrained eye, they look convincing. To collectors, they're instant red flags. There is no U.S. quarter dollar from 1845 with Texas on it. 0. If someone claims to have one, that claim alone makes it suspicious. Now let's talk about what is valuable. Authentic Republic of Texas paper money can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. Genuine Texas medals and early tokens from the mid-1800s can also bring strong money. And here's the big one. The official Texas state quarter that collectors recognize today is the 2004 Texas state quarter, part of the modern state quarters program. That's the only real Texas state quarter. So when people say 1845 Texas quarter, what they're usually seeing is one of three things. A normal 1845 U.S. quarter with no Texas connection. A replica or fantasy token. Or a completely misunderstood historical piece tied to the Republic of Texas, not the U.S. Mint. Now let's talk numbers, honestly. A real 1845 U.S. silver quarter, with no Texas link, can sell for a few $100s in decent condition and much more in high grades. Authentic Republic of Texas currency can range from several $100s into the tens of thousands. Fantasy pieces and replicas? Usually worth very little beyond novelty, and that's the lesson hidden inside this mystery. So let me ask you. Have you ever seen a coin someone called an 1845 Texas quarter? Would you have known what questions to ask? And which early American or Republic-era coin would you love to own one day? To wrap it up, the 1845 Texas state quarter dollar is one of the most persistent myths in U.S. numismatics. A mix of history, confusion, and wishful thinking. Texas history is real. Texas coins are real. But this particular quarter exists only as a legend. Top 3. Today we are talking about a coin that sounds so believable, so historic, that people are convinced it must be real. The 1812 Louisiana State Quarter Dollar. A coin tied to war, expansion, and one of the most important chapters in American history. And here's the twist right up front. This coin has never officially existed. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll explain why so many people search for an 1812 Louisiana quarter, what was really happening in America and Louisiana in that year, which real coins get confused with this idea, how replicas and myths keep circulating, and at the end, what genuine coins connected to this era are actually worth today. Let's set the scene. Bring up a dramatic close-up of an old silver quarter on screen. In 1812, the United States was at war with Great Britain. The War of 1812 was raging. The U.S. Mint was striking coins, yes, but state quarters were not a thing. Not even close. State-themed quarters wouldn't appear until the year 1999. So why Louisiana? Because Louisiana became a state in 1812. That single fact fuels the entire mystery. People assume there must have been a special coin to mark it. It sounds logical. It feels right. But that's not how coinage worked back then. Let's zoom in on reality. In 1812, all U.S. quarters were federal designs. No states. No special markings. No Louisiana symbols. If you see a silver coin dated 1812 with a state name on it, that's your first warning sign. Now here's where things get interesting. Before becoming a state, Louisiana was part of the Louisiana Purchase, acquired from France in 1803. During the early 1800s, foreign coins were still widely used in the region. Spanish reals, French coins, and other foreign silver circulated alongside U.S. money. That mix confuses people even today. Here comes the cliffhanger. Over the years, medals, tokens, and fantasy pieces have been created with Louisiana themes and early dates like 1812. Some are souvenirs. Some are commemorative medals. Some are outright replicas designed to look old and valuable. To someone new to collecting, they look convincing. To experienced collectors, they stand out instantly. There is no official 1812 Louisiana state quarter dollar. None were authorized. None were minted. None were released. So what should collectors actually look for? Bring up images of real 1812 U.S. quarters. These are draped bust quarters. Federal designs. No mention of Louisiana. These are genuine coins from that year, and they're rare. Very rare. Now let's talk value, honestly. A real 1812 U.S. silver quarter, depending on condition, can sell for several $1,000s. High-grade examples can reach well into the tens of thousands at auction. Authentic early Louisiana-related metals or historical tokens can also bring strong money, depending on rarity and condition. Fantasy pieces or replicas labeled as 1812 Louisiana quarters. Usually worth little more than novelty value. That's the lesson here. History adds value, but only when it's real. So let me ask you. Have you ever seen a coin someone claimed was an 1812 Louisiana quarter? Would you have known what questions to ask? And which early American coin from the War of 1812 era would you love to own? To wrap it up, the 1812 Louisiana state quarter dollar is one of the most convincing myths in U.S. coin collecting. A perfect mix of real history and imagined coinage. Louisiana's story is real. The War of 1812 is real. But this coin exists only in stories, replicas, and misunderstandings. Top 4. Today we are talking about a coin that sounds so perfect, so historic, that people instantly believe it must be real. The 1788 New Hampshire state quarter dollar. A coin tied to the birth of the Constitution, early America, and one of the first states to shape the nation. And here's the surprise right out of the gate. This coin has never officially existed. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll break down why people keep searching for this coin, what was actually happening in New Hampshire in 1788, which real coins get confused with this idea, how replicas and myths keep circulating, and at the end, what authentic coins from this exact moment in history are really worth today. Let's set the scene and bring the visuals in close. Picture an old silver quarter dated 1788. It feels right. That was the year New Hampshire became the 9th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, officially putting it into effect. Huge moment. Nation-changing moment. So it makes sense that people assume there must have been a special coin to celebrate it, but that's where history steps in and corrects the story. In 1788, there was no U.S. mint. No federal coin system. No Philadelphia Mint striking quarters with state names or symbols. In fact, the first official U.S. quarters wouldn't appear until years later. And state quarters? Those wouldn't show up until 1999. So if someone claims they have a 1788 New Hampshire quarter, that alone tells you something's wrong. Now let's talk about what did exist. Zoom in on early American copper coins and tokens. Before the U.S. Mint opened, states authorized copper coins for local use. New Jersey did it. Vermont did it. Connecticut did it. But New Hampshire never issued its own state coinage. No coppers. No silver. No quarters. Here's where the confusion deepens. In the late 1700s, foreign coins were everywhere. Spanish reals. British coppers. French silver. They circulated freely, even in New England. Over time, medals and commemorative tokens were created to honor early states and historic dates like 1788. Some were made much later but designed to look old. That's where the myth gains traction. Here's the cliffhanger most people miss. Some fantasy pieces even include a P mintmark, suggesting Philadelphia. But Philadelphia didn't strike state quarters in the 1700s. If you see a coin dated 1788 with New Hampshire written on it, that's not a discovery. That's a replica or a novelty piece. Now let's talk about what is real and valuable. Bring up a genuine 1796 or early draped bust quarter on screen. These are the first true U.S. quarters, and they're federal designs only. No states. No celebrations. Real examples from this era sell for thousands of dollars, and high-grade pieces can reach deep into five figures at auction. Authentic early American medals tied to statehood or constitutional history can also be valuable, especially if they're well documented and original. Fantasy coins and replicas. Usually worth very little beyond display value. So the truth matters. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a coin someone claimed was a 1788 New Hampshire quarter? Would you have known what to look for? And which early American coin from the founding era would you love to own if you had the chance? To wrap it up, the 1788 P New Hampshire state quarter dollar is one of the most believable myths in coin collecting. The history behind it is real. The year is real. The importance is real. But the coin itself exists only in stories, replicas, and misunderstandings. Top 5. Today we are talking about a coin people confidently ask about, and almost everyone gets wrong at first. The 2016 state quarter dollar. It sounds normal. It sounds modern. It sounds like something you've definitely spent. But here's the twist right away. There were no state quarters made in 2016. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'll explain why this confusion exists, what quarters were actually struck in 2016, which ones collectors are hunting for right now, the rare details and errors that change their value, and at the end, what these coins are really selling for today. Let's get a quarter on screen and zoom in. In 2016, the U.S. Mint was no longer producing state quarters. That program ended back in 2008 after all 50 states were honored. But the quarter didn't stop evolving. In 2016, the Mint was deep into the America the Beautiful Quarters program, and those coins are what most people are actually holding. Now flip the coin over and take a closer look. Instead of a state outline or flag, you'll see a national park or historic site. In 2016, 5 designs were released. Shawnee National Forest, Cumberland Gap National Historical Park, Harper's Ferry National Historical Park, Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and Fort Moultrie at Fort Sumter National Monument. Each one tells a story, and each one has details collectors love to study. Here's where things get interesting. These quarters were struck at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were meant for circulation. The San Francisco ones? Those were special collector issues, struck with a satin or proof finish. If you've ever seen a 2016 quarter that looks sharper, shinier, and almost too perfect, now you know why. Bring the camera in closer. Look at the details. The trees. The rock textures. The historic buildings. These designs are packed with fine lines, and that's exactly where errors can show up. Some 2016 quarters have doubled lettering. Others show die chips that create raised blobs of metal. A few were struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing. These aren't common, but they're out there. Here's a cliffhanger most people don't expect. While circulated 2016 quarters are usually worth face value, some high-grade examples with strong strikes and nowhere are surprisingly hard to find. Collectors who specialize in top-condition modern coins pay attention to those details. Now let's talk real value, without hype. A regular circulated 2016 quarter is worth 25 cents. A clean uncirculated example might sell for 50 cents to a couple of dollars. Proof coins from San Francisco can sell for several dollars each, depending on condition. And confirmed mint errors, especially dramatic off-center strikes or strong double dies, have sold for tens to a few $100s at auction, not bad for something most people don't even pick up off the ground. So let me ask you this. Do you own any 2016 quarters? Have you ever flipped one over to see which park or site it features? And which modern quarter design is your favorite so far? To wrap it up, the so-called 2016 state quarter dollar is really part of a different chapter in US coin history. No states. No repetition. Just beautifully detailed designs celebrating America's landmarks, with hidden value waiting for people who know where to look. If this video cleared up the confusion and gave you a new reason to check your change, hit like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and watch the next video waiting for you. Because sometimes the most interesting coins are the ones everyone thinks they already understand.